I'm incredibly pleased to be here with y'all in person. I know that it's been a little while since everybody's gotten together like this, so I think it's incredible to be together in person again, doing these very important things. The reason I'm here today is simple. There is a very fundamental problem that is occurring in most industries today. Your industry is not immune to this. What is going on is there is a complete lack of creativity and innovation in the day-to-day of the business. And what ends up happening is we lose incredible opportunities to leverage success, to move forward, to innovate, and to collaborate together in ways that we've never imagined before. Now, I know you might be saying, hey Nir, that's fantastic, but we're on strict budgets. This is a municipal thing. You know, we can't go crazy with the numbers or anything like that. But the creativity and the innovation that I will share with you guys today has nothing to do with budgets or limitations or anything like that. These are creative principles and innovative principles that you can use today. Tomorrow, when you get back from this conference, you can use those things right away. So today we will cover a couple of really fun things. We're going to get into myth busting, which is I've been doing this a long time, and I got a pretty good list of kind of the myth that people have when it comes to creativity. I'll share with you that in a little bit. And then we're going to get into some rock solid principles that you can use to enhance creativity and enhance innovation. And they're things that will work for you. And I really hope that you get some value out of our session today. We don't have much time together, and I will give you guys the most maximum amount of value that we can in the short time that we do have together. Now, at the end of the presentation, you will be getting a very special treat. Okay? That very special treat, as my 5-year-old calls anything that's like fun, special treat, Dad. The special treat is going to be my cell phone number. Okay? I put it up after every conference, after every time I do a talk. I get a lot of text messages and some calls. Some are weird, and that's that. But a lot of them are really great. The reason I do that is because I want to continue the conversation. I don't want it to just be, hey, let's have a nice time together and review some of these principles. I want this thing to last long. So I will give you my cell phone number, my real cell phone number. Feel free to call, text, ask questions. I am really here for you guys. I am here to propel innovation and creativity. I have dedicated my life to helping businesses and helping corporations, municipal governments innovate and create new forms of wealth, new forms of products, new forms of services, and new forms of things that will improve the lives of people that live in this great state. All right, so we're going to get to some myth busting. We're going to talk about why creativity is so important, and then we're going to cover some critical tools that y'all can use immediately, maybe even today, as you start to become more innovative and more creative. All right, so myth busting, here we go. The first one that I get literally every single time I talk about innovation or creativity, people say, Nir, this is great, but I'm not an artist, I'm not a painter, I don't dance, I don't do sculpture, I'm not that guy, right? Or gal, I don't do that kind of stuff. I'm, a internal auditor. How can I benefit from any of this stuff? Well, the truth of the matter is that we are all creative. We are all creative human beings. We were all born that way. And somewhere along the line, it got kind of taken away from us. Now, I'm not sure how. I'm doing a little bit of research on this. This is probably going to be the second book. But somewhere along the line, we've stopped being creative. We've done a lot of research about babies and children, and their creativity is unbelievable. But as adults, we tend to trade creativity and innovation for something else. We think it's not serious or we think it's not important. Well, the truth of the matter is that innovation and creativity are perhaps the most important skills that you can learn. And it's not an issue of just kind of learning them, it's really an issue of relearning them. So we'll go through some of that today. The second thing that I get all the time when I do these talks to groups just like yours is, Nir, I am going to retire in 5 years, okay? I do not need any of this stuff right now. I don't need change. I don't need any weirdness. I don't need my boss, like going, hey, we got a reorg or whatever it is, the latest fashion of the day. Just let me sail through the next couple of years and get to pension. The fact of the matter is, and I'm so sorry if that is the path that you are on, because that no longer exists. There is nowhere in the world that you could just hide out for 2 or 3 years and think that everything's going to be good. It's just not possible anymore. Creativity and innovation are now some of the most in-demand skills at work, and understanding how they work will not only let you just kind of limp through the next 5 years, what they'll allow you to do is to thrive over those next 5 years. So if you are close to retirement and you're thinking, Nir, this is great, I love it, it's cute or whatever, but I just need to hang in there for a little bit longer, I'm here to tell you I'm very, very sorry, doesn't exist. Okay, so this is another thing that I get a lot. I do talks like this, I give my cell phone out, people text me, Nir, I got a job for you, come work for us, we're starting an innovation department, right? And here's the thing, innovation and creativity have to come from each and every one of you in this room. There is no hiring this thing away. It's not just like, we'll find a guy or a gal and they'll come in and this is going to be great. They're going to innovate and that's that department. Let them do it. There is no such thing. Innovation and creativity have to emerge from each and every one of you guys as it starts to permeate through the organization, and it's like a wildfire. I'll show you guys a little later some tricks and tips and techniques that you guys can use right away, and I guarantee you, I promise you, that's why I give you guys my cell phone number. I promise you, you will see immediate benefit. It's that good and that important. So if you are thinking, hey, I'm just going to hire someone else, let them do it, it's going to be great, well, you can't. You have to practice this in everything that you do. All right, so now we got to get to why this is so important, and then I'm going to give you guys some really great tips. Okay, so it was a dark and stormy night 45,000 years ago, okay? And our hero, Harriet, was running into a cave. And of course, it's raining and it's storming and it's horrible. And everyone lived back then to 16 or whatever, because people would die of all kinds of things that we don't have today, thank goodness. And so Harriet's running into her cave. And of course, it's a dark and stormy night. Of course, there's a beast attacking her that's far larger and far stronger than she is. And the teeth are like this big, right? The thing is attacking. She is mere inches from imminent death. Mere inches, right? And, she's in the cave and it's flooding, so the water's coming up. I mean, this is imagine the worst. This is the worst prehistoric thing ever. The water's coming up, and this beast is literally, just that far, and it's clawing. And she sees in her flooding cave, right, because the water's about to flood and drown her, right, because why not? She sees a stick that was always just a stick, right? It was like something she used for walking or hiking or whatever. And then she sees an arrowhead. And, that was like a berry picker. She used it to kind of like a sharp edge to cut things. And what Harriet did has defined humanity to where we are today. There is no us without Harriet here. And that's why creativity and innovation is so important. Harriet took the arrowhead. She took the stick and put the two things together. Okay? she was able to fight off the beast and live one more night. Creativity and innovation are part and parcel to who we are. They are our DNA. It is the stuff that we are made of. So when people say, oh, I'm not creative or whatever, what they mean is they've lost touch with creativity. They've lost touch with innovation. Harriet had discovered creativity. And because she discovered creativity, we are all here today. The earth just, 150 years ago was worldwide, not just in the US, but worldwide, the mortality rate was something like 45 in the late 1800s. People would die of diseases and stuff that is, long been erased from our day-to-day experience. And innovation and creativity are what has given us the medicines that we need and the different approaches that have led us to be where we are today. So, creativity and innovation are literally part and parcel to who we are. It's in our DNA. We need to learn how to re-access it. And re-accessing it might surprise you, because the techniques that we'll go through to help you re-access that creativity, a lot of you might already say, hey, Nir, that's kind of common sense, and that's the entire point. Okay, so as children, we were all creative. I wrote a book with McGraw-Hill, and God bless them, I love McGraw-Hill. They will not publish a word in there that hasn't been verified by a several verification process, right? There's lots of checks and balances in there before they publish a book. And what I learned was that out of roughly 500,000 proposals for books that they get a year, they pick 50 to 60 of them to publish. And they expect the author, which I was not, they expect the author to have the research team and all that stuff. So I quickly ramped up. I hired an archivist and his team, and they came to my help and helped me with the research. Because what I said in the book, which got redlined, was basically that as children we are all creative, and then we lose it later in life. And they were like, absolutely not. Red, 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 red. They were like, get this verified. So I had to find the research on it that really showed that to be true. And it is 100% true. We looked at babies in different countries. We looked at the US, we looked at the Far East, China, we looked at Africa, we looked at every country on earth. And there is a test that they give a baby when they're, I think, 7 or 8 months, or 8 or 9 months, I can't remember the exact date. What they do is they put a piece of food, a Cheerio or something, in a baby bottle, okay? And the baby at that age does not have any language skills, does not have any way to interact with people other than crying because they're hungry or they're tired. Every single country, we found that the baby can creatively get that piece of food, the Cheerio or whatever it is, the particular piece of food, they can get it out of the bottle and eat it. They could do this before language skills take place, before any kind of asking for it or something like that. It is a proven fact that what Harriet has managed to do and give us when we were when in antiquity literally translates today. So we are all creative as children, and then something happened, and I'm not really sure what happened. I don't know if it is school. I don't know if it is college. I don't know if it, God forbid, an MBA program. But something happens along the way where we stop becoming creative, we stop becoming innovative, and we start to look at Excel all day, okay? And what we are missing is a potential to use our God-given abilities to solve problems in ways that nobody else is able to solve them. I do a lot of corporate work. I'm on retainer with an airline. I work with I'm on retainer with a software services company, and I show up And the people in the room are far smarter than me. I mean, you're talking very, very highly educated people, PhDs and stuff like that. But they are so used to working in a certain way, in a certain methodology, because they've been doing it every day their whole careers. They don't understand that, hey, time out, let's look at the process, let's look at what we're doing and see if there is a different way to do it. So I ask you today, as I go through some of these ideas, to open up your hearts and your minds to a different way of doing things. Because I think in that different way of doing things, you might find an incredible, incredible value. You might find a potential that wasn't there before. So we're going to get right into it now with the first thing that I love about innovation and creativity. And it is the little victory. There was a ice cream machine salesman, to make like shakes, like milkshakes, many years ago. And what he wanted to do was to sell a bunch of ice cream machines. So he did what most people would do when they want to sell a new product or a service. Volume, right? Volume is the altar of the god of efficiency, right? Volume. Let's get as many machines sold as humanly possible and everything's going to be great. Well, what happens with volume is that things will go up for a while, right? Because people will buy stuff. If you are hammering, people will buy. But like every volume-based business, like every analytical-based business, at some point it plateaus. Now, why does it plateau? And that question is incredibly important to ask. It turned out that the brain that is in everybody's head is split into two hemispheres. Now, there's some crosstalk that has been recently discovered, but basically, one side of the brain handles the analytics, one side of the brain handles creativity and innovation. And what we have done at shocking peril is overdevelop the analytical side, and we have completely underdeveloped the creative side. And what ends up happening is we go into a business or an industry, and we assume that what has worked yesterday will also work tomorrow. But the very fact is that the incredible time that we live in, I don't know if y'all were watching the news this morning, watching it on my way here, the Dow was down 600 points at one point, and then when I left the hotel to come here, it was up 500 points. There is no resting on your, behind anymore. There is only the ability and the willingness to keep changing and keep innovating. So the sales went flat and he didn't know what to do. He wanted to sell more machines. Volume, right? Volume is going to sell more machines. Well, it stopped selling more machines. So he then said, you know what? I got kind of a creative idea. And the instant that he got this creative idea, he started talking himself out of it, right? Because that's what people do. They get a cool idea that's different, new, interesting, innovative, and then they talk themselves out of it because they're like, oh, that's not serious. Why would I do that? Okay? And he did that. His idea was to go to a particular client who bought a bunch of these machines and see why they kept buying their machines, because they would order one every month or two. Now, when you look at it analytically, you open up Excel and you put in the line item of flight, you put in the line item of meals, you put in the line item of transportation and all that. This idea is horrible. It makes 0 sense financially. But innovatively, it makes a lot of sense. So he got on a plane, he said, you know what, I'm just going to do it. He goes out there, there is a line 45 minutes out the door at this restaurant that kept buying these machines. 45 minutes out the door. He stood in line, waited and waited and waited, got to the front, and had the best cheeseburger he's ever had in his entire life. Okay? And that guy's name was Ray Kroc, and that restaurant was McDonald's. So, had he just have stayed home, which would have been the analytical choice, we wouldn't have had McDonald's as we have it today. I ask you very, very, very humbly, what is going on in your industry today what is going on in your particular business, in your particular field, that you can say, you know what, time out. Let's look at this particular thing here. Let's investigate a little bit more time over there. That time spent investigating those things may seem like a waste of time or a horrible idea up front, but it can be the ticket to great innovation, to great success. We need to stop defining success in the way that it has been defined in the past, and we need to redefine the way that we define success. If you have teammates working on your, under you, let's say you have a department, there's 300 people that report to you or your structure. Start to reimagine what success would look for them, because you have burnout at the highest rate that you've had in recent memory. You have the great, what's it called, the great, not recession, it's the thing where people quit, the quiet quitting. You guys know about that? It's like people at work, they're just dialing it in, like, I'm quiet quitting. There is ample opportunity for you as a manager, for you as a boss, for you even as an employee to say, you know what, let's start to redefine how we look at things. Take that approach that Ray Kroc did and step outside the box to try to come up with an idea that would work. All right, my second tip for today on how to become innovative and creative is to give it away. Highly controversial, all right? It's a highly controversial one. I just want to say it up front so that you guys don't get too upset, all right? Now, give it away for free whenever you can, okay? People generally get very uncomfortable when I say this, but the economy has completely changed from only 5 or 10 years ago to what it is today. It's completely changed. And your ability to stay competitive, your ability to stay innovative requires you to give a lot away for free. Now, what do I mean? I mean, if you don't have a YouTube out there helping people, I don't know, file a permit to get, trash service or whatever, if you don't have a social media that has an honest and true voice to your constituents, you guys are in really bad shape. You might say, Nir, what's my return on investment on that, right? How do I justify giving stuff away for free? Well, that is an analytical question, and I'm begging you to come over to the creative and innovative side. When we give stuff away for free, we end up energizing people to use our products and services in a way that maybe they wouldn't have never done so. And we build incredible communities, and we build incredible brands by allowing people to consume our message on their own terms. Allow people to consume the message on their own terms by giving it away for free. All right, so here's another one of my favorite parts of creativity and innovation. Choosing positivity. Again, we did a ton of research for the book. I wrote something in there that English is the most negative language on earth. And that got redlined by the McGraw people. I was crying. This thing was like, it was like a sea of red when I got my manuscript back. It's like just dripping red. I was like, I'm the worst author on earth, right? And so we gave it to the research team. I said, guys, English is like, right, it's the worst, right? It's from England, right? The fish and chips are gross. Nobody likes fish and chips. England's weather, miserable, right? I mean, it's like, it's always like that rain. I mean, you guys have been. It's just, of course, it generates a lot of negative words, right? It's England. So the research team and I worked together, and we found that English has a ratio of 6-to-1 negative words to positive words. So for every word good or great, there are 6 times more words that are negative, like this sucks or terrible, unacceptable, on and on and on. So I said to my team, okay, it's got to be English only, right? And one of the guys who helps me with my stuff, like, you know what? Let me take a look. So we did the study, and we studied 120 languages from all over the world. And we found that it's true in every single case. In every single language on earth that we have studied, there's something between a 6 and a 10-to-1 ratio of positive words to negative words. Isn't that crazy? I mean, like, that's wild. That means that our languages and the way that we communicate are set up to be negative, and we have to actively want to transmit our message in a positive way. So, how do you start using this tool today? The first thing that you can do is start to think before you write an email. Okay? I do it all the time. I'll be me in this case, right? I get an email from somebody on the staff, and they'll say, Nir, you have to call Chrissy back because she has a question. And I'll put, I'm the worst at this. I'm like the dentist with bad teeth, right? I'll put, okay, we'll follow up, send. Or, got your message, really busy, send. Something like that. I'm the worst. Instead of doing that, what I highly recommend that you do is you take a minute to acknowledge the person who sent you the email and tell them, hi, Alyssa is the person who sent me these emails. Hi, Alyssa. I hope you're well. Thank you for sending me the email. I will follow up with Christy for sure, and it's going to be great, and I really appreciate you taking time to let me know. Okay? Now, I've studied the emails, okay? You guys are going to love this. I've studied the emails, the one-liners versus the just how are you doing? How's your family? Hope everyone's well. Hope little Timmy, doing well in Little League, Nir. Those emails are way more productive and end up getting you an incredible network of people that are genuine connections, right? Not just people that you work with, not people that you burn through. Versus the emails, when you send those kind of like, hey, yeah, whatever, later, send, you get people that it builds animosity, it builds a hostile work environment. People are like, I don't like Nir. I sent him emails and like he responded like, what, is he really that busy? So I ask you guys to start choosing your language more positively at work, immediately. When you send emails, take a minute and say, okay, I'm going to address the person who sent me this email. You never know what happened to a person in the minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, a day before they're interacting with you. And I think we have an obligation to take that moment and acknowledge the human being here, okay? This might be a new business relationship. It might be one of your vendors, right, that you are interacting with. But if you just take an extra second to acknowledge them and to just be a decent human being, the creative and the innovative potential go up dramatically. What ends up happening is from these interactions, somebody will say, yes, Timmy's doing great at Little League, and by the way, I'll be in Columbus next week. And then you say, oh, that's wonderful, let's meet for coffee. And then all of a sudden you're meeting with a vendor or a supplier or a customer in a position that allows you guys to do better work together. It is incredibly important to choose our language carefully. Now, here's another thing. When you leave voicemails and you're following up with people or you're calling people, choose the words that get you out of this cesspool of negativity and into the promised land of positivity. If you are able to do that, you will unleash creative and innovative potential simply by the interaction that you have between you and the other person. Now, I can't tell you, okay, if there's a guaranteed sort of ratio of how this will work. It will change depending on how you use it and what words that you use and what feels natural to you. But the ability to change your language so that it's more positive, the ability to adapt to the situation and allow positivity to shine, incredibly, incredibly important. Okay, so we will now cover something that comes up when you start to become innovative and you start to become more creative, and that is the disease of self-doubt. What ends up happening is you start talking yourself out of it immediately, just like Ray Kroc did when he wanted to go to the first McDonald's store to check it out, because what was going on here. He almost talked himself out of it. He almost said, this is going to be too expensive. Why would I do that? And all of the reasons, the analytical reasons, kind of pointed against going down there. But he decided to take a leap of faith and actually do it. So when we try to be creative and we try to be innovative, immediately the self-doubt monster starts to kind of claw its way into taking that ability away from us. And it is one of the, in my opinion, most horrible conditions of humanity. The condition that we have to stop ourselves from having a good idea. It is a disaster. My very, very good friend, Dr. Ken Alexander, is an infectious disease doctor in the Southeast. And he works on, crazy diseases like Zika and all these crazy diseases. His lab is directly across from a cancer research lab, and everybody's friends there, right? All the researchers hang out together, weekends, wine, all of that stuff, restaurants. They're all buddies. So Ken, at one of these dinners, talked to one of his friends, another doctor who was doing research on a type of brain cancer that children get that is 100% fatal rate. I mean, it's the worst. It's the worst thing ever. And Ken was studying Zika at the time. This is about 2 years ago now. And he saw the particular enzyme in that Zika was perfectly situated to, I'm not a scientist, so I don't really understand this, but it is perfectly situated to attack this very particular form of cancer, right? But he had to go and convince his friends and colleagues to inject this Zika virus, like literally Zika virus, the mosquito one? He literally inject that into cancer cells from this particular cancer because he thought it would work. He was met with a lot of ridicule, right? It took him a month to even kind of gather up the courage to go talk to his colleagues because he was afraid that they would laugh at him. He was afraid that they would think, oh, that's a dumb idea. Why would anybody ever do that? So finally one night he convinces one of the researchers there to try this. And she said, okay, we'll do it after hours because it's going to be embarrassing. Like I don't want the understudies to see this stuff, right? We'll do it, we'll leave it in the thing, cook it overnight and come back in. They did it. They came back in the next morning, and I kid you guys not, this Zika virus was able to attack this particular form of childhood cancer and eradicate it. And they are in phase 2 trials. They're almost about to start injecting Zika virus into children with this particular form of cancer because they think that it will work. And if it does, guys, this would be literally creativity and innovation saving lives. That is how important these ideas are. Now you might say, Nir, I work at the city. I'm not a cancer researcher or whatnot. But within every single one of you in this room today, there is the potential for an idea and an innovation that can change humanity. And for you to shut that down and for you to not allow that out, it affects me. It affects everyone else. And in a selfish way, my mission in life has been to generate creativity and generate innovation from people who might not want it out in the world, simply because the potential of your idea is that strong. And the potential of what you can do at your particular industry can have ramifications that will last a lifetime. So, do not squash your ideas before they have a chance to get out into the real world. There are tons of things that kind of fail an inch or 2 inches before they are successful. People give up. They say, I'm going to do this. They kind of let go. So you need to take a risk and a leap of faith on ideas, on innovation, no matter how small they are, because those ideas might change your industry, might change lives forever. Now, this is great, Nir. How do I do it? So I got a technique called the waterfall write it down technique. Again, redlined in the book. Guys, McGraw would absolutely not. This is the dumbest thing we've ever heard. We're not publishing it. I was like, okay, I swear it works. And so I hired a psychologist. They did some research. We got it. It really works. When you write something down, you transmit a different manifestation of your brain than when you think about something. I don't know why it works, as I'm not a scientist, but what ends up happening is when you write stuff down, you take the weight of the idea off of your shoulders, and it becomes kind of an inanimate object. It's just a piece of paper that I wrote something down on. So what I highly recommend is that if you want to come up with ideas, you want to come up with innovation, take it out of your head and put it down on a piece of paper. Out of your head and down on a piece of paper. What you do is you keep writing stuff down on a piece of paper or Post-its. I love Post-it. Keep writing your ideas down on a sheet of Post-it, on a piece of Post-it. What ends up happening is you don't fall in love with that idea like you are carrying around when it's in your head and you're like, oh, I've got a great idea for how to, get the vendors to collaborate better with the city or whatever. It becomes something that you put on paper. When you put it on paper, you change psychologically your approach to it, and you kind of free the weight of it from your shoulders onto reality. So I highly recommend the waterfall technique in order to get ideas out into the real world. Okay, another thing that you must do if you want to be creative and you want to be innovative is shut down your phone and your computer once in a while, please. Okay? Shut down your phone and your computer once in a while, please. Now, I do this talk and we change up the sections, but I just did this with a group of scientists at Thermo Fisher, and they were like, this part, they're like, no, we have to. There's so much good stuff happening, and this is something that we want to keep up with the latest, and we get research papers from all over the world, and what if information there is incredibly important? Well, here's the thing. If you're not able to step away from your work once in a while, you just become a machine, a robot that keeps executing the same old thing over and over again. Now, what I recommend that you do, if it's genuinely impossible for you to walk away from your machine or your phone, which it might be, I don't know, I hope not, is to start scheduling what I call me time, okay? What you do is you start blocking out time on your schedule for things that you want to do, for things that you think would be a good use of your time. Now, start next week, okay? And put a half hour in your calendars. I'll wait. If you guys want to pull out your phones and your cell phone, put a half hour in your calendar next week and call it me time, okay? I promise you that half hour will probably be the best half hour of your entire week. I don't know if you guys are like me, but I'm in Zoom or Teams meetings from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30, sometimes 6 at night, nonstop. And sometimes I can't even go to the bathroom. It's that bad because I'm in so many of these things. But what I've started to do is block out time, and it allows me to just kind of have time to let my mind go blank and not think about work, not think about what I have to be doing, or think about, something that is coming up. And when you do that, it allows you to take a break and take a step away. When you take a break and a step away, creativity is a byproduct. Innovation is a byproduct of allowing your brain to step away from your day-to-day work, and it allows it to roam and come up with some different ideas. Switch gears. So, I used to think that I was a multitasking genius. I thought I was so good at being on the phone and being in a meeting and then texting somebody, and I could do it all, and it's great. The truth of the matter is that multitasking does not exist, okay? It is something that is completely made up. It is impossible for human beings to multitask. So, what do you do instead? You do one thing at a time, and you do it to its full potential, you finish it, and then you move on to something else. That's what you do. Now, you might be saying, Nir, no, how can I do that? I've got a million things going on nonstop, and I don't have time to shut it down for a little bit and then come back to it, right? But the truth of the matter is, and this has also been studied numerous times, not by me, but by others, basically what happens is your efficiency goes down the more that you try to multitask, right? It's like a coefficient. Like the more you try to multitask, the more the efficiency goes down. So multitasking doesn't work. We think it works, and we do it because we think we're going to get more stuff done, but you're not going to get more stuff done. You get less stuff done. So what I highly recommend is the method of switching gears, which is working on one thing, finishing it all the way through, and then going to your next thing. If you are able to do this, even for an hour or two, you will notice that not only is your productivity much higher, because you're able to focus on something at once. That's what we were born and made to do as human beings. We are supposed to focus on one thing at a time, and generally that one thing is not getting killed. That's what we're supposed to focus on, right? Now we have Teams and emails, so okay, great. So now we're focusing on some other stuff. When you divert attention to too many things, you get nothing done. When you focus your attention on one thing and one thing only, you get a tremendous amount of things done. Okay, so my last point is this, before I give you guys my cell phone number. All of you guys who have stayed this long, special treat. You can innovate and create on low to no budgets, right? You don't need to have an insane amount of resources to come up with ideas that will work. You can do what this teacher did. I believe it's in Thailand. I don't know if you guys have seen this video, but basically the problem was that the kids would come into class and they weren't able to greet the teacher and start their day on their terms, right? Some kids wanted to hug the teacher, some kids wanted to high five, some kids wanted to do a dance. And she didn't know, like, oh, little Timmy wants to do that, Susan wants to do that, I got to keep track of it. What if they change their mind? They're kids. Kids change their mind every second, so what am I going to do? So she came up with this thing that cost literally 7 cents and printed it out and put it on the wall. And what it is, it's like there's a heart there, there's a hug thing, there's a greeting, they're doing a dance, there's fist bumps and all that stuff. And all the kids have to do every day before they come into the class so that they can start that class, start their education on their own terms, is push that thing. It's zero tech, like zero tech. It's literally somebody pushing a sticker on the wall. So we are all able to innovate. We're all able to create. I wonder what it is in your particular industry, in your particular role, that you can do, and it's just like so there, right? It's just on the tip of your tongue to change or to alter or to look at a new pathway in order to gain some creative initiative, to gain some innovative initiative. And I wonder what it would take for you to just go and do it. Just go and do it. It's not always about the person who has the most amount of resources. It's not always about the person that comes up with the best idea. And it's not always, some faraway thing. I will leave you with one of my favorite stories. I've worked extensively in Hollywood and in the music business, and I've also worked on the seaside running companies at different levels. I've hired 1,000 people over my career. I had to count that number for McGraw because they redlined it, and I literally had to look through the hiring forms. This is the point. The band Aerosmith. Do you guys know Aerosmith? The band Aerosmith has a meeting every Monday morning. Every Monday morning. Innovation costing zero. This is an example. They have a meeting every Monday morning where the 5 guys get together. They've done this like 30 years because they're up there in age. And every Monday morning they have this meeting and they call it the bad idea meeting. Okay? They all come to the meeting and they all share a bad idea. That's the point of the meeting. Okay? And somebody blurts out, oh, we should do a song about, I don't know, microphones. They're like, well, that's a really bad idea. And then somebody else says, oh, we should do a song about butterflies. It's like, no, we're not doing a song about butterflies. And then somebody says, oh, we should do a song about dude looks like a lady, or love in an elevator. And these become genuine hits. These become real songs that people enjoy. I wonder what would happen if on Monday morning you guys all returned from this conference and you guys put a half hour in your teams, in your schedule, in your Microsoft Outlook, got your team together and said, all right, everybody, we're going to have a stupid idea meeting. Okay? Everybody come up with the worst idea that you could possibly come up with for this department, and let's hear it out. Everybody gets a couple minutes. It'll be, really short, and then we'll wrap it up and get back to the regularly scheduled program. What would happen if you were to do that? It is such a simple idea and such a powerful idea. It's one of thousands of how to pull innovation out of a team, how to get people to participate. It doesn't have to be you as the manager, you as the boss that comes up with this creativity, this innovation. It has to be you as the manager or the boss as facilitator of innovation. And allowing innovation to come from the team, allowing creativity to come up through the team might be the most powerful thing that you can do when you get back to work next week. So I'll leave you with that thought. I will leave you with the fact that we are all incredibly creative. We are all incredibly innovative. It just takes the will to do so and the bravery and the respect to the material it takes to allow ourselves to go there. You can all do it. It's within you. It is in every single piece of your DNA. It is the fabric of who we are. Innovation and creativity are an incredibly important part of our lives, and it is something that can yield great rewards at work. I very much appreciate y'all coming out here. That's my cell phone. And I look forward to continuing the conversation. I'm very easy to find. You can Google Nir, N-I-R-B-A-S-H-A-N. Very easy to find. That's my real cell phone number. Let's see, does somebody text me in? No. That is my real phone number. I'm very, very approachable. Shoot me an email or a text. I get emails from around the world about creativity and innovation. I'm really, really here for you guys. I want you guys to get a lot out of it. A lot of times at these types of events, I'll think of something 2 weeks later. I'll be like, oh, that guy said something. I want to, there's my phone number. So text me, feel free, keep in touch, and I really appreciate y'all having me.